Hello, and welcome to the second part of Surds, where we look at rationalizing the denominator, a very important skill. Okay, so what does it mean by rationalizing a denominator? So this is the second page from the workbook. Rationalizing the denominator involves removing the surd from the denominator of a fraction. Okay, so we don't want a surd at the bottom of a fraction. So if we have something like 5 root 2, okay, that's got an irrational denominator. We want to rationalize it. So what we try and do is to convert or to rationalize 5 over root 2, what we can do is multiply top and bottom by root 2. And the effect of that is by multiplying top and bottom by root 2, as you can see here, root 2 times by itself will give you root 4, which simplifies to 2. The 5 root 2 is on the top, and that is now rationalized. The denominator is now rationalized. It's now not a surd, but a number instead. Okay, so that's an easy example when you've got a number over a surd. But if you've got something a bit more challenging, a bit more complex, where we've got signs plus and minus, then we will still have to do the same skill. We'll still have to multiply top and bottom, but not just with the surd, but by the conjugate of the denominator. A conjugate basically means the opposite sign value of that denominator. Okay, so if you look at this example, you've got 2 plus root 2 over 3 root 2 plus 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply top and bottom of this by the conjugate of this denominator, which basically means it looks the same, except the sign will change. So instead of having plus between the two numbers, you're going to have a minus. And you can see this example here. Now, when I go through some of the example in the worksheet, I'll emphasize on using brackets in your working, as that will make things a bit more easier to see. So what is the effect of multiplying by the conjugate, by the top and bottom of this fraction by the conjugate? Well, as you work through it, and we're going to see an example, when you multiply the denominator by its conjugate, it will cancel out the surds in the middle, and you'll just be left with a number. And at the top, you just have to multiply out, as we did in the previous video, and simplify as much as possible to get to a stage. Okay, so let's have a look at questions on the worksheet. So question 1, write 2 over root 5 in the form a root 5. So this is a nice and easy example. I've got a denominator which has a surd. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by root 5. Okay, so you can get 2 root 5 over root 5 times root 5, which is 5. Okay, and if you were to write this in a different way, you can write 2/5 root 5. Okay, that's there. Right, next one, question 2. Write 3 root 2 over root 6 in the form a root 3. So again, we've got to think carefully about this. 3 root 2 over root 6. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this slightly differently. Okay, I'm just going to write 3 times root 2 over root 6. Okay, and I'm just going to use my rules of surds. Remember, a surd over another surd can be written like this. Okay, and you'll get 3 times root of a third. Okay, now if you're to simplify that a bit more, you've got 3 times root 1 over root 3, and then you get 3 root 3. But that's still not in the form which we want, so we've got to multiply top and bottom by root 3. And obviously the root 3 times root 3 gives you 3. 3 root 3 on the top, multiply out, cancel out the root 3's, and you get that. Okay, so questions 1 and 2 are not too difficult. Question 3, on the other hand, will require a bit more work and a bit more precision in how you lay out your work. Okay, so question 3, we've got 2 root 3 plus root 2 over 3 root 2 plus root 3, and we need that in this form, a root b. Now remember, this is more complex, and if you remember the notes at the top of the page, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. Okay, so when you multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator, you're going to have 3 root 2. You can multiply basically top and bottom by 3 root 2 minus root 3. So you're going to change the sign from the denominator here. Okay, and then you're going to have to take your time with the expansion of brackets. So I'm going to take this quite slowly. You've got 2 root 3 times 3 root 2. So remember, number times by number, so the skill from the previous page. So 2 times 3 is 6, root 3 times root 2 is root 6. 2 root 3 times minus root 3. 2 root 3 times minus root 3 is minus 2 times 3. Okay. Then you've got root 2 times 3 root 2, which is 3 times, and obviously the root 2 times root 2 is 2. And then you got root 2 times minus root 3 minus root 6. Okay, so it's nearly simplified. Just got to work out the bottom. 3 root 2 times 3 root 2. 3 times 3 is 9. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. So it's 9 times 2. And you got 3 root 2 times minus root 3 minus 3 root 6. Okay. And you got root 3 times by 3 root 2, 3 root 6, and root 3 times by minus root 3, minus 3. Okay, so you're going to get 6 root 6 minus 6 plus 6 minus root 6. In the denominator, the 3 root 6 cancels out the minus, and you got 9 times 2, which is 18, minus 3, which is 15. The 6 is cancelled out, and you got 6 root 6 minus 1 lot of root 6, which is 5 root 6 over 15. And 5 over 15 is the same as a third, and the root 6 can go there, and that's the form which we wanted. Okay, so if you think about the skills that we've used in question 3, it's a combination of everything that we've learned so far. Okay, so multiplying and expanding brackets, and then simplifying and simplifying further. Okay, the practice questions are outlined here, and the stretch and challenge questions are outlined there. That's the end of the video.